Honestly, Shang, I'm pretty sure you're autistic. I'm really, really convinced that if we went to a doctor, he'd be like, he's somewhere on the spectrum.
He's somewhere on the
And literally
spectrum.
not in a bad way. Gewoon letterlijk as a fact.
Yeah.
As a fact. Hi, my dushis. Welcome to the Alchemize Podcast. My name is Destiny, and I use the internet as my personal journal where I speak about whatever I want. Today, I have a special guest with me. I'm with my friend Shavi, and we're going to talk about neurodivergency and femininity and everything in between, and how you find balance in your life while being different. So before we begin, let's do a little introduction. Who are you? Tell the people what you're about, what your passions are. Tell us.
Well, my name is Shavi, as you already said, and I like to do anything that has to do with creativity. For me, that is my passion. So I like drawing, I like arts, and I also like anything that has to do with psychology. I'm a total nerd in that section. So those type of things is what I truly love.
Nice to know. And speaking of psychology, I bet that this whole process must have been a really big journey, starting from when you were little to now. Because when were you diagnosed exactly with autism or neurodivergency?
Well, this year, actually.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay, so it hasn't been long since you were totally sure about the reason why you are the way that you are.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about growing up and how you managed being different without understanding why you were different?
It was funny that I didn't know because I was a very different kid compared to everyone else. I remember from a young age, I would think, why am I not like everybody else? Or I would have this thought that I'm different from everybody else. And so that was something that I had to deal with. I remember that's why I got into psychology too, because I couldn't understand people. And so I went to psychology and I researched a lot of how people act and how their body language shows what they're feeling, because I wasn't able to read them. And now, and now that I know, it's actually because of the autism all along.
Right.
So those things were truly something that I had to deal with.
Okay, so we just mentioned briefly that you say you have autism, but what exactly is your diagnosis and what does that mean to you? And what does that mean for the type of person that you are?
Yeah, I actually went to my psychologist for problems with concentration because I was not able to concentrate and it got very bad to the point that I felt like I really needed help. Also, I was struggling with also a little bit of depression, but I kept that a secret because most of the problem is that when you do have a little bit of depression, people normally diagnose you with something else, even though the problem with the depression is because of underlying
issue.
Yeah. So I went to him and we talked, and then I started realizing that he started asking me questions about autism because I was a complete nerd in psychology. So I was like, hey, those questions sound a little bit like about autism.
Yeah.
And I confronted him and he's like, yeah, it's just to make sure because of the concentration you can have links over it. I was like, okay, sure. So that's basically what happened. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you caught him trying to diagnose you with autism. And once it was confirmed that you have it, what was that aha moment that made you go, oh, that makes so much sense? Could you bring like maybe an experience that you had long ago where at first you didn't understand it, but now that you know exactly why, you can connect the dots?
I think it's when he was testing me that it did an aha moment, but I wasn't sure yet because I didn't get my results yet. So I remember he asked me this question. He asked, has anyone ever told you that you're different? And I said, yes. And then his second question was, have you ever felt that you're different from everybody else, either in a good way or a bad way? And it was like, it's like your deepest thought that you think nobody is listening to that deep thought. And you're like, I've never told anyone ever that I felt this way. And so it was like, yes, my answer was yes, definitely. So like the high score. And he continued. And it felt like aha moment, as you said. And it all kind of clicked when he asked me that. And so afterwards, I was like, are you sure it's autism when he actually diagnosed me? At first, I started laughing because it was like, finally, I had the reason why I'm like this and everything clicked. And I asked him, are you sure? Like, are you sure that it's autism? And he's like, yeah, he's pretty sure. And I was like, ow. that kind of hurt.
You're like, yes, you check all the boxes.
Yeah. And he's like, because I told him once, I was like, I have problem with concentration, and when I'm trying to concentrate, it feels blurry in my head, like it feels like a fog. And he told me, and that fog thing that you have, that's not ADHD, that's autism.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was diagnosed with both of them. So.
Okay.
But it was because of the autism that I was getting that.
Okay, and for the people who don't truly grasp, because me growing up, as I told you before, I always considered autism to be a very severe issue. So you might have people who are further along on the spectrum who might have more difficulty with other things like social interactions and things. But if I look at you, you're pretty sociable. It seems and it looks pretty easy for you to do these things. So you wouldn't really look at a person like you and say, oh, she has autism. So if you can explain a little bit as well what it actually means to have autism, then it can be a little bit clearer.
I think everyone's experience is very different because it's, as you said, like it's a spectrum. So the spectrum can vary from very severe autism, which normally people use it as, it's like a stereotype that they use. When I thought about autism, I thought about that stereotype until I was diagnosed with it myself. And I was like, wait, what? So basically, autism, you have problems with social interactions. So I thought I always had good problems. I was like, I have good eye contact, for example. But then I asked my friends after I got my diagnosis, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. You have extreme eye contact. Like, it's extreme.
Oh my God.
And you make no facial expression while you're listening to me. And it kind of is off-putting sometimes. And I'm like, oh. Because most people think that, oh, if I have eye contact, like I don't have autism.
Right.
Which is not true, because you can have intense eye contact too. Especially people that do masking. Masking means you're basically hiding who you are.
Right.
Especially for me, I learned at a young age that I have to have eye contact. If I'm trying to look like I'm telling you the truth, I have to have eye contact.
Right.
So I forced myself to have eye contact to the point where I actually do eye contact intensely. So there's a lot of people on the spectrum that has very intense eye contact. Even people that have like very severe autism, sometimes they will like come close to you with eye contact. So it's something that you get.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Because as we were talking as well, I thought it was so out of the realm of possibility. But now that you mention it, there might be a lot of people in my life that I didn't even realize had autism that actually might or have it. And it's really funny to see it in a different light.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a specific question because you were talking about masking as well. How has feeling that you needed to mask affected you while you were growing up, let's say? And how have you started to unlearn that deep habit that you've created of masking, and how have you been able to start being more yourself now that you figured out that that's what you were doing?
I think first you have to identify that you were masking. For me, I thought it was normal that I was like, oh, it's normal that everyone like changes themselves to fit in groups. And then I found out, oh no, normal people can do that naturally. Like they do this naturally. So for me, I was masking since I was young. That's why I was also into a lot of psychology, and I was always fixing my posture. Like for example, my mom always thought that this was just, I was growing, like I was 12, I think. I used to have this thing that I do. But I have my hands like this. And they thought it was just me like being more feminine or trying to be more feminine. And it turns out it was dino hands.
Right,
Dino hands are like one of the autistic traits, but it was only one hand.
How interesting.
So everyone like thought that I was just trying to be more feminine, and I had to learn myself to not do my dino hands.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that's like a funny example. But other examples where I was changing the person that I am to be accepted in groups. I remember since a young age, I would talk to the girls in my class. I would be like, oh, but why did you guys not talk to me? Oh, I have to change this about myself. Oh, I'm being too awkward, or oh, I'm being too this, or I'm being too loud. So I think that was something, now that I'm looking back at it, I was like, oh, these are all things that I'm doing that are masking. So one thing that I'm trying to unlearn is sometimes I might not make a lot of facial expressions. That's why I keep my face on a smile all the time, because it's easier, and people know that I'm friendly and I'm trying to accept them. And
oh my gosh,
like,
that's so interesting. I never paid attention to that. Okay.
So like I always, it's a habit now that I always have my face in like a smile.
Yeah.
Because even when people are talking, even though I actually just want to do this.
Yeah,
So
they just normal.
I just want to listen, but people normally see that as non-expression, and they get a little nervous, and they're like, they can't read me, so it's difficult for them. So that's why I try to make as much expressions. Now I try to let myself loose a little.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not make expressions. It's fine. People, especially I have hypersensitivity. Normally you get either things make you don't have a lot of emotions in some places, and some things makes you extremely happy. And so for me, I used to have, you know, like the childish kind of character. When you're very excited about something and you're like hyper, you're jumping around. That's how my happiness is. But for people my age, it looks like I'm being immature. So I would hide that, and I would be like trying to, just politely smile, be happy about it, but don't be extremely happy. So now I try to actually try to be happy when things happen. So I would have this thing that I would do. My friend, like my closest friend, calls it my happy dance. And it's where I would, like, I was literally start like tapping kind of dancing, and I would like do a circle.
Oh, that's
like,
so cute.
I would do a circle, and I stopped doing that because I was like afraid that people thought I was extra. And I saw the people's face, and they're like, "Oh, why is she doing that?" And now I try, especially do it with people that I'm close to. I try to open up and actually do those things, because it's part of who I am. And not doing it is rejecting myself.
And I wanted to come back to that as well. It's like, for a long time you were trying to suppress the person that you are, basically, and now you're finally opening up and just being that person. Now, how do you deal with people kind of treating you like you're too much? Do you remove them from your circle? How do you protect your peace, in a sense, to make sure that those type of things don't have to affect you as much anymore?
I think it has to do with right time, right people. I do think my mask is necessary sometimes. So I would put it on when I'm in social gatherings, maybe, with a lot of people that are different, that don't know me as much, because we are social beings, sadly. And so we have to interact with people, and sometimes you need people to like you for you to get around, to manage life in a peaceful setting. I do have to put the mask sometimes, but I try to not do it as much that I'm watering myself down to fit into what people want me to be. So that's something that I try to do now more often.
And I feel like everyone kind of does that a little, right? Because let's say we're talking right now, we're super chill, but if I were to have a conversation with, I don't know, the president of Curacao, I wouldn't be able to have the same loose, you know what I mean? You need to have a sort of mask to make a separation between who you really are, who you protect for the people that you really care about, and the person that you show to strangers, or the person that you, because you can't be open with literally everybody. You know, you're gonna get yourself in trouble that way. So I think that's very clever. How do you feel that your hypersensitivity can come in handy with being your most feminine, your most abundant self? Because let me give you an example. A lot of the times we grow up as girls thinking that we need to be more masculine, and that includes dimming down our excitement, dimming down how lit up we are about things, because you think that people are going to think that you're extra. But now that you're learning that there's a balance in that, how do you come to terms with like your femininity and your excitement and that hypersensitivity, and bringing it together in a beautiful way?
Well, for me, because I'm hypersensitive, but also sometimes I'm hyposensitive. So I might have times where, let's say a funeral where everyone's crying, maybe I'm not reacting the way you're reacting. I'm coping it with a different way. So I do have the hyposensitivity.
He does too.
So I do have the hyposensitivity. But if we're talking about my hypersensitivity, I think accepting that I feel more than other people was key. So especially I'm female, so it makes it worse. I feel more already, and especially with the autism, I'm gonna feel even more.
Yeah.
So for me, accepting that I just feel more is key. So first step that I did was, oh, I feel more, and it's okay. So telling myself it's okay that I'm feeling more was my key, and then letting emotions come to me. So let's say, for example, there might be a social gathering where someone just kind of did something. It was like a micro thing, but I felt it because I noticed things more than other people.
Yeah.
So I felt it. And instead of pushing it away like I would normally have done, like, oh, I don't need to worry about that, it's not something that should bother me, I let it, you know, get into me. I was like, okay, this is what happened. First, I need to identify what actually hurt me.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with autism too. Sometimes you don't know why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
Right. Yeah.
Like you have a lot of emotions, but it's difficult to identify it. So sit with it, identify it, and then just feel it. For me, I had a lot of problems with people because I like to do art and I like to do poems and I like to do a lot of those things. And for people, it might look a little too expressive, and they're like, no, that's too much. Stop it. But for me, it's my way of coping with things, and it's my way to express feelings. And it's not always, the stories are not always about me, but they might have some things in them that are things that I was feeling, and if that's a way for me to take it out, then I'll do it. And I think people should be more open about us feeling, and it's okay to feel.
I totally agree. You know, a lot of what you're explaining has been part of my journey of allowing myself to be more feminine, because it's, first of all, identifying what you're feeling, allowing the emotion to come through you and not suppressing it. Because sometimes you might be feeling something and you're like, I shouldn't cry right now. But it's crazy because as soon as you allow yourself to just have a little cry, you feel so much better and you can move on with your day. And I noticed that process is very similar. So identifying it, allowing yourself to feel it, knowing through expression how you should react to it, because it's such a healthy way also to process your emotions, like writing, poems, art. Those things are so beautiful. I really think that's a cool thing that you do. Because I feel like in the hardest times that life threw at me at times, those were the things that kept me grounded. Being able to express and write everything down. So that you do that is actually a really cool way to process those emotions. I think that's something I gotta start doing again, because
it's helpful. And talking about grounding, there are ways that we cope, and I didn't even know I was coping with. Because you're hypersensitive, so things
overstimulate
me. Yes. So for example, if I'm having a problem with a friend, that could lead me to spiral very easily. So what I would do is I would have, it's called grounding. So people that have autism, and that reminds me also of my childhood, they like to be on the floor a lot.
Okay.
Because you feel more close to the ground, and it literally grounds you.
Okay.
So I remember I would always stay at my aunt's house, and I would love staying with my aunt's house for one and only one reason. She has like these tiles that are so, like, the texture is so great. I sound so autistic right now.
Like graba or like what?
No, like very
like completely sleek.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So and I like to, and I would play on the ground. I would eat on the ground. I would watch movies on the ground.
Okay.
I would listen to her talk on the ground.
That's
I would
so
sleep
funny.
on the ground. So for me, it was grounding. So when I would have one of my overstimulations or I don't know if we call it panic attacks. It's not panic attack, but it's
just a moment of hypersensitivity. You're just being overstimulated.
And you're like going to, I think, spiraling. So if I'm spiraling, and if I'm crying, I just go on the ground is the best. Like sometimes I need to be on like my fetal position and I'm on the ground and it's fine.
Oh wow.
Because it helps you. So I used to have it and I couldn't understand. I was like, why am I going in a fetal position on the ground? That's kind of weird. And then when I found out about the grounding, I was like, that makes so much sense.
That makes so much sense. And you know, you realize a lot of the things that we sought comfort in when we were little is a lot of things that we need to come back to when we're older to feel better. For example, growing up, I remember what I loved to do when I was little. It's really strange. I think it's a stim, but I don't know if I'm autistic or anything, so I don't know if I want to call it that. But I do this weird thing. I can't believe I'm going to put this out on the internet. But I do this weird thing that when I guess when I get, so if there's a sound that's really annoying or very persistent, for example, if there's construction happening around where I am, or if there's a loud noise going on, I start to bite my tongue and like hum. I'm not gonna do it on camera because that's, I'm sorry, I'm not up for that. But it's like, it's this weird thing that soothes my nervous system.
Yeah.
And I used to do that since I was a very, very small child. And I remember after a while thinking, no, I should stop doing that because people, when someone sees me do it, it's very weird. Like, it's super strange. And I tried to teach myself to not do it anymore. And then eventually I noticed that I would become more irritable faster because I wasn't allowing myself to do my stim, to find the way that I cope with things. And I noticed that we as people, sometimes we suppress the parts of ourselves that help us feel better to our own detriment. Because if I had just allowed myself to keep doing the same thing that I was enjoying, it just helped me cope with whatever was happening around me. I was able to handle it more easily. And now that I'm suppressing myself, not being myself, things go wrong. So you realize that it's so important to know who you are and not to allow people or anything around you to take away that person that you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I about stimming.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was talking. There's two situations. One is a little bit more dramatic, but the other one, I remember I was talking with a kid because I was giving him tutoring classes.
Right.
And I was talking because he likes to talk. So I was like, oh, I'm learning a little bit of sign language. And he's like, oh, this thing that you keep doing, is it sign language? And I'm like,
oh,
oh
my God.
I do this when I'm like, but it's my stimming.
Yeah.
I keep doing it all the time, and I didn't even know
so
it was my
funny.
stimming until he brought it to my attention. I'm like, oh yeah, I do this all the time.
It's so crazy because you don't notice it, and sometimes people are not going to tell you that they notice that you do something until you bring it up in another context. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, interesting. I'm going to look out for that when I see it.
So it's my little stimming thing that I do, and also for me, when I'm having like very deep and emotions, like let's say I'm going through like very, I'm overstimulated, or I'm going through like emotions that are very heavy, I do this. I tap on my heart, and it helps. Yes. It's very helpful. So for me, I used to let myself do it only when I'm with myself only, but now I think just letting me do those things, like even if I'm in front of people, sometimes I need it. Yeah. Because my brain just works in a different way, and it's okay to just to be able to do that.
Yeah. And how has it been sharing that with others? So for example, now that you're sure of your diagnosis, how much of a connection does a person need to have to you in order for you to be able to feel comfortable to tell them that you're neurodivergent, for them to take that into account?
For me, at first, I thought I was only gonna tell my closest friend. Yeah. But as you can see,
we're telling the world.
We're telling the world. So, for me, it was something that my psychologist told me. He's like, there's a lot of stereotype with autism and ADHD, but more with autism. And he told me, you could be the example to show people that it's not what it looks like. Yes. And so when he told me that, I was like, it's, if I keep it hidden only to my friends, it's like I'm embarrassed about that part of me. And a part of me that actually, if I didn't have my autism, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. It formed me in so many levels. So for me to hide it and only like say, oh no, I only tell my friends, like it's a secret that nobody should know about. It's like me telling the world that, hey, this is something to feel ashamed about, and I didn't wanna keep feeling ashamed about it, and I wanted to embrace it for all its negative parts, because it has negative parts, but also all of the things that are good about it. And telling people that I'm autistic maybe a lot of them normally have the thing that they say, but it's okay. And I'm
right. And it's like, bro, I didn't say I was dying.
No. Like, I think a good illusion for people, I was thinking about this morning. Let's say everyone's green, okay? Everyone has the color green, and I'm pink, okay? So I like pink.
Yeah.
So, and I thought all the time, I was like, it's a little strange. I feel like I'm not completely that color, but I'm probably green. Like, I can't look at myself because I'm thinking I'm green also because everyone's green. And then I found out that I'm pink, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm happy because I found that I'm pink.
Yeah.
And then I tell someone that's green, I'm like, hey, I'm pink. And they're like, it's okay, it didn't affect you, it's fine. I'm like, no, I'm trying to tell you in a good way, I'm pink.
Yeah,
so,
it's not like something that you want pity from. You're just giving them information. I'm just stating a fact to you. I'm not telling you.
Yeah, it's not something that a lot of people say, but okay, but you managed to deal with everything in spite of your autism, and I think that makes it sound like it's not as difficult as it appears to be. Like, people kind of discredit it, and I'm like, yeah, it's not difficult for you,
right?
Because you don't have to deal with all of the things that I have to deal, because. Level 1 of autism is internal. It's structure.
Right.
And ADHD, you want new things. So it goes completely against each other.
Oh, God.
So I'm fighting my brain all the time. And I'm like, which one should I do?
Yeah.
So for people to be like, oh, no, it's fine. You made it this far. It's like, yeah, but it's still a process. I'm going through it in my own self.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was wondering too, because you say that there are some there's good parts, obviously, and there's also some not so good parts. Are there more examples of things that you are trying to deal with that you're working on finding better ways to cope with?
Yeah, I think especially switching tasks, because sometimes, and I'm honest about this, sometimes it's hard because I'm doing something and I'm looking at it and I know I have to give the dogs food and I know I have to give the dogs food. But I'm looking at the dogs are looking at me. And I'm like there's something holding me back from doing it.
Right.
And because I can't, it's difficult to switch tasks. And so, or for example, sometimes I get in trouble with my mom because she's like, go do the chores now. And I'm like, no, I need to mentally prepare myself that I'm going to switch to that thing that you want me to do.
Yeah.
Like, or for example, I'm working on a project and they're like, hey, go do this thing real quick and come back. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah. What are you asking of me?
What are you asking? Yeah. So I think that is very, I think I'm learning to tell myself, okay, we are gonna go give the dogs food. Like I tell myself loudly, we're gonna go switch to that task.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's okay, let's do it. And then I do it.
Wow.
So it's hard for me. One thing that I have to take into account is, let's give an example. I have a stair, let's say a stairs of emotions, right? Normally people have, let's say 10 steps.
Yeah.
I have 5.
Right.
That means that some things I feel more intensely and some things I feel less intensely than it should be. So, for example, I remember my grandma was sick and everyone else, at first, of course, your first instinct is to cry, you're panicking and stuff. But then after that, everyone else is still going through it. And for me, I went emotionally flat. So for people, it looked like I'm not actually like suffering because of it, or I don't care. And knowing that I cope with things differently. For me, people saw that I got busy and I started reading a lot, and they're like, oh, she's fine. She's doing everything she has to.
Right.
She's not hurting. And so understanding that I work in a different level when it comes to my emotions. And also there's this strange thing. Let's say I'm not crying because of things. I'm feeling sad, but I don't know how to process that emotion. I see someone else crying because of the same situation. I start crying. It's like, oh, now I identify the emotions. Oh, I'm sad. Everyone is expressing sadness this way. I now express sadness this way. So I think taking account, knowing that I'm not a freak. Like convincing yourself I'm not a freak. It's okay, this emotion is fine. This is the way I cope. So finding out how I cope with different emotions is key.
Yeah. And I think that's completely valid because a lot of people, I think, even neurotypical people don't really know how to do that quite yet, or at least not even identify the steps of their emotions. You know, a lot of people sometimes they think or they realize that they have something that's a bit different, and they don't even want to look at it because they're maybe too afraid of what they might find. But I think it's so brave that you've decided to actually, you know, well, it kind of fell upon you as you explained, but that you've embraced it so nicely and that you're just moving along with it and you're just making it such a beautiful experience and sharing it with others.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people who might feel exactly the way you do, but just never were able to put words to that emotion.
Yeah.
So I think it's beautiful that you wanted to share this, and thank you
Yes,
so
I
much
had
for
so
being
much
on the
fun.
podcast with me.
It was so nice. I was so nervous because I was like, am I actually gonna tell people this?
Oh girl, no, but we're gonna make it beautiful, and you
Yeah.
obviously did an amazing job. And with that, we want to close it off.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. This was very special. Thank you guys for being here with us. This was the Alchemize podcast for today. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, my douchies.